Gonna get you. Come to Freddy.
Have you ever had a nightmare so terrifying you could have sworn it actually happened? Wes Craven in 1984 took us down that street with his film Nightmare on Elm Street.
You know, I get this question about, when did I get the acting bug? And the older you get, the more you examine some early influences. And I think I wanted to be, or I was supposed to be a lawyer. You know, this was like the word my father put in my head as a child. But I do remember being fascinated with a production that was, they called them spectaculars or specials then, and they had filmed the Broadway production of Peter Pan, and it was like in color when most TV was in black and white, and it was a special. I think it was on NBC, and they would show it once a year, like The Wizard of Oz. You know, was shown once a year. It was a special, and it was a big event. And I remember staging that in my parents' garage with neighborhood kids, and I couldn't have been a day over 9 or 10.
Please, God. This is God.
Robert Englund's first major role was on the television show V. After seeing him, the director of The Nightmare on Elm Street, Wes Craven, chose to audition Englund for the one and only Freddy Kruger. Even though the role was originally meant for a stuntman, Englund managed to win Craven over.
I went on the audition for Nightmare on Elm Street, and it was a traditional audition. But you have to remember, this is a long time ago. This is 1984, spring of 1984. And I was much younger. I looked young for my age. I was very tan from surfing. I had long, blonde, curly hair. And I knew that Wes was looking for someone big. I had heard rumors that he was looking for a stuntman or something like that, and I had cowboy boots on, so I looked a little taller. But my buddy smoked, and he'd left a cigarette butt in the ashtray of my car. And I looked at myself in the rearview mirror, and I just didn't feel right. So I licked my finger, and I took a little bit of the ash from the ashtray, and I put a little bit of circles under my eyes, and the ash with my saliva, gross. But it did. You couldn't tell. It was very subtle. You couldn't tell I had makeup on, and it kind of sunk my eyes in a little bit. Very subtle zombie, circles under my eyes. And then I opened the hood of my car. I had an old, beat-up Roadster, Japanese sports car, and I took the dipstick out. I just took a little bit of grease on it, and did this. And I took all of my blonde hair and kind of slicked it back. Well, I had a high hairline anyway back then, but my hair was all in my face, so now that made me look a little older, and kind of matted my hair down, with grease product. And I went on the audition, and as you probably gathered by now, I like to talk, and I kept my mouth shut, zipped my lips, and I just sort of listened to Wes, who's like really eloquent and articulate, and was telling me this idea. He had this wonderful idea of the children of the parents who burned this killer who got off because he'd hired good lawyers, and he burned to death in his basement boiler room. And he had manifested himself. He never quite went to hell, and he'd come back to haunt the children of these vigilante parents, and he would, sort of kill them one by one, like 10 little Indians. And so I'm listening to it, and he's telling me all these ideas he had for how to get into the dreams, and that Freddy wasn't just a killer, but he would take advantage of whatever you were afraid of, because he knew your thoughts. You were afraid of bugs, he'd cover you with insects and things like that, or heights, or whatever. Or if you had a particular disability, he would exploit it because he wasn't politically correct. And I'm like, oh my God, this is great. And I kept my mouth shut and my mouth closed, And I started thinking, you know, I can use the energy that I want to use in my face for talking. I'll just put it in my eyes. And I played a staring game with Wes, and I tried not to blink, and I just looked right at him, and that's all I did for the audition. And I got home, and this is back in the day of answering machines, and I had a message, you know, that I got the part.
All day long I've been seeing that guy's weird face and hearing those fingernails.
Fingernails? That's amazing you saying that. That made me remember the dream I had last night.
What'd you dream?
I dreamed about a guy in a dirty red and green sweater.
Well, what about the fingernails?
Oh, he scraped his fingernails along things. Actually, they were more like finger knives or something he'd made himself. They made a horrible sound.
Nancy, you dreamed about the same creep I did.
A Nightmare on Elm Street depicts the story of 4 teenagers living on Elm Street who begin to share eerily similar nightmares all about a man in a red and green sweater and a bladed glove. None other than Freddy Kruger torments these friends in their dreams, but when you are asleep, no one's there to save you.
You want to know who Fred Kruger was? He was a filthy child murderer who killed at least 20 kids in the neighborhood. Kids we all knew. It drove us crazy when we didn't know who it was, but it was even worse after they caught him.
Did they put him away?
Oh, the lawyers got fat and the judge got famous, but somebody forgot to sign the search warrant in the right place, and Kruger was free just like that.
What did you do, Mother?
A bunch of us parents tracked him down after they let him out. We found him in an old abandoned boiler room where he used to take his kids.
Go on.
Took gasoline. We poured it all around the place and made a trail of it out the door. Then lit the whole thing up and watched it burn.
The film immediately became a cult classic, causing numerous sequels and the fame of the iconic character Freddy Krueger. Despite the fact that it was made 27 years ago, it remains a classic in the horror film industry, praised for its balance of quality scares and comic relief.
And if he gets me, I'm pretty sure you're next.
Me? Why would anybody want to kill me?
Don't ask. Just give me some help nailing the guy when I bring him out.
Bring him out of what?
My dream.
How do you plan to do that?
Just like I did the hat. Have a hold of the sucker when you wake me up.
Wait a minute. You can't bring somebody out of a dream.
If I can't, then you can all relax because it's just a case of me being nuts.
A Nightmare on Elm Street remains a truly important piece to the horror genre today. Multiple generations have grown up fearing Freddy and his infamous glove. The bloodthirsty, knife-gloved child murderer has been portrayed time and time again, and it seems as if the Freddy fad will continue for quite a while longer.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Oh, we hope you've enjoyed this walk down Elm Street. Speaking of which, buy Robert Englund's book. This is Marissa Urias signing off for Diablo Heat. Rolling.
Ow!